let's move around this league. Ah, man, start with what everybody been talking about. And I mean everybody reacting
Man.
to the Luka trade, Luka and AD trade. I saw a meme, by the way, it's such a shocking trade. I saw a meme that said, everybody's so shocked that Luka got traded that we acting like Anthony Davis is Hassan Whiteside. And that couldn't be more accurate. No disrespect to Hassan, because I think, for Hassan to go from a second round pick to, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was an all-star. If not, he got really close.
Yep.
But I think he was a one-time all-star. But signing $100 million contract, second round pick, out the league, G League, whole thing, work his way back and do that. A lot of respect for Hassan and what he did in this league. So no disrespect to him, but I thought that meme was hilarious because everyone act like they didn't get Anthony Davis back. Like, and everybody like, oh, they should have got so many picks. Bro, they got Anthony Davis at 31.
Davis, bro. Yeah, you got AD. He damn near in every category. Like, he top 5 right now in every category.
And no disrespect to Luka, but Anthony Davis is a top 75 player in the NBA history. Luka's not that yet. Now, he has the potential to be that, and he will be 100 by the time, top 100 by the time the next one come out. But Anthony Davis is a perennial all-star, a top 75, and everyone acting like he's nobody, but nonetheless, I think it was very shocking. I personally was at the Warriors poker charity night when the trade went down, and I'm Steph's 2 tables behind me, and Steph goes, "Draymond, you see this?" I'm like, I had heard like the Warriors were looking at making some trades and all of that. So he goes, "You see this?" And I'm like, "See what?" He liked to trade. I said, "They did it?" I'm thinking he talking about is something that just came up with us. He like, Luka and AD. I said, huh?
What?
I walk around this table. He showed me the phone. I'm like, the question everyone had, is this real? Exactly. I look closer like, it's from Shams. It's real.
It's real.
It come from Shams. You could bet your bottom dollar. It's real. Man, I was at a loss. I'm still at a loss for words.
I'm still like AI generated or like for real. Like it still hasn't hit. I think now it's starting to hit. Everybody's saying they farewells. But when you heard about the trade, like, why do you think the Mavericks would do a trade like this?
I think a couple reasons. Number one, where were you? I feel like this is one of those things that it's such a big deal that you will always remember where you were when it happened. Where were you when this trade went down?
I feel like I was I was chilling with my girl and she showed me.
That's crazy.
And I call bullshit. And I call bullshit. I was like, man, that's some bullshit. And then I looked and I was like, Shams.
Shams.
It's over.
It's real. It's real. So when I look at this trade, I think it happens for a couple of reasons. Number one, as great as Luka Doncic is, he was not drafted by the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks, the current general manager.
That's true.
And so, as great as he is, general managers have in their mind how they see fit for a team that they construct and how they want it to work. How they see it working, how they see themselves getting to it and winning a championship. Now, the first thing people will say is, but Luka just went to the finals last year, so they close. And I'll say, I agree. Luka did go to the finals last year. But what I'll also say is, sometimes making it that far to the Western Conference Finals, sometimes that can be a little fool's gold. Look at the Atlanta Hawks. Was it 3 years ago, 3-4 years ago, going to the Eastern Conference Finals? Barely has sniffed the playoff since. Sometimes it can be a little fool's gold when you make it that far. Now, I don't think Dallas was fool's gold. I think they made great trades. Mid-year last year, acquired P.J. Washington, Daniel Gafford, who helped boost their lineup and put them in contention to compete for a championship. And they got there. They got close. Weren't quite able to close it. So now, when you look at that, as that general manager, you're going back to the drawing board and you're saying, what do we need to do in order to get over the hump? Quite honestly, I don't think anyone in the world would think the thing to do is trade Luka Doncic. I don't think anyone does that. But when I saw the trade, my first thought was, Dallas must know something that we don't know.
I've been saying that.
They must know something. They must have some intel or something. You know, Luka's been dealing with a calf, right? Like, I'm like, they must have some intel or something that we don't quite know. So that's one of my first thoughts. Yeah, second thought is naturally like, superstar players don't get traded in their prime at 25.
In the middle of the season.
I'm not even sure if he's considered in his prime yet, right? Like, but at 25, and you're right, at the trade deadline, like big trades like that.
That's crazy.
Don't normally happen at the trade deadline. And so when I look at it, I'd say Nico Harrison, who's the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks, for those that don't know, has, like, when I look at the makeup of his team, he go gets a Kyrie Irving that everybody's afraid of. Everybody think Kyrie's off his rocker. Everybody think he won't be able to be talked to. However, due to being the guy at Nike for so many years, Nico already had a relationship with Kyrie, and he thought to himself, I can deal with Kyrie. So I'm going to go get Kyrie. And guess what? It's been stellar. Kyrie's been stellar. He's been locked in. So, operation successful. So there's that. You didn't give up a ton to get him, right? Like, so operation successful.
Super.
So now when I look at that, and then I take a step back and look at this trade, my first thought is, or second thought, here's a guy who you see the Lakers say, they're worried a little bit about AD's durability. They don't think he's a 1A guy, X, Y, and Z. But then you got Nico Harrison, who's like, yeah, y'all may not think he's a 1A guy, but what I know for sure is he's a 1A talent.
Yeah.
And so with my relationship, with Jay Kidd's relationship, because he played, Jay Kidd was on the coaching staff when they won the championship in 2020. Jared Dudley's relationship with AD. I think we can get AD to play at that 1A level consistently. And I think that's the bet that they're making. But more importantly, the bet that they're making is, if this ship is going to go down, if I'm going to go down, if I'm Nico Harrison, what I see is him saying, I'm going to go down with someone I trust, not necessarily someone that the GM before me trusts. And yes, Luka's a superstar. Yes, Luka's great. But Luka was never Nico's guy.
That's true.
And now Nico is bringing in his guy and saying, I'm going to swing for the fences. And if I fail, I fail. But I fell doing it my way. And you got to respect someone who's willing to take that stance.
I agree, dude. He is doing it the way he want to do it, right? It's something about the Luka thing, even though they went to the finals, I think for him, it was, there needs to be a final piece, right? I think they also experienced like, hey, Dallas got cracking. Dallas got hot in the playoffs. Luka got hot in the playoffs, but it was really the team that played so well, right? That allowed Luka to be Luka in Luka moments. And then also when Luka was dialed into, the success of the team, right, trying to play defense, trying to do the different things on the defensive end, that's when they won.
Yep.
Those are the games that they won. And you get to the finals and you look and you say, hey, man, my superstar is being put on an island by this entire roster.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We are vulnerable. If he does not defend, right, if he does not take up on this leadership responsibility in the finals, we don't have a chance. And I think Nico saw that. And when you see somebody like AD, you looking at, if I had AD in that game with the squad we had, with the way we play, we got a better chance of winning that series on the defensive end with somebody like AD. And then stacking the deck, now you're the biggest team in the West.
Yep.
You got the most size, you athletic in the front court. You know, it unlocks Kyrie to go be Kyrie again, right? You got Clay over there that can be a great compliment to Kyrie. So I think the 80 for Dallas is their upgrade now.
Yes.
We need to go now. Everything, we putting all our chips on the table. We need to go now. This 25-year-old kid, right? We don't know if we built this team for him. This team is not necessarily constructed and built for Luka, right? And for the future of Luka. So you would have had to continue to make iterations and keep moving pieces to figure out, okay, is this the right fit? Because you got, not that you got lucky last year, you earned and deserved everything, but there was some teams that were tired, teams that were hurt, right? And this year is way different. You see the fatigue, right? You see the coming back from the Olympics, you got to know something.
Yeah.
Like, it's too much wear and tear. Where is he going to be at 30 versus AD at 35? Like, who's going to have, over the next 3 or 4 years, who's going to have that window of longevity? And we're going to see where these dudes kind of measure out.
Yep, that's a fact. And I think when you even look at Nico's press conference and stuff, the one thing I respect the most is he's standing on it. He gave his reason why.
No, he's standing on it.
And he said, listen, what I thought was a very, very bold statement, and like I said, I respect it. He said, listen, we will see if I was right or wrong. Pretty much saying, I know that this move is either going to make me a long tenure GM, or it's going to get me fired. And we'll see if I'm right or wrong. And I respect that. I will say, listen, anybody that make a move like that and they stand on it.
Woo! Hey, dude, Jason Kidd was not, he was in the meeting like, I ain't going. Hey, dude, Jason Kidd, I'd never seen Jason Kidd like that. He was like,
J. Kidd looked like he had just saw a ghost. He looked like
man, I gotta be here. I gotta be here. I ain't got nothing to say. He was in shock. That is the face of a coach in shock. What do you think what do you think is going on in J. Kidd mind, just based off that press conference? What is he thinking? What is he contemplating?
What he's thinking is he has to change his entire offense. That a guy you could just give the ball to and let him go figure it out is gone.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to sit there. He's sitting there trying to process what it is, like that's in front of him, what it is that just happened. Like, I think J. Kidd was all over the place sitting there because, again, also like Nico said it, like J. Kidd didn't know. Right, so like even being in the dark, like you start thinking of, I think J. Kidd's sitting there thinking about all of that. It was you just see the look on his face was crazy.
Why didn't you tell me? Just tell me, homie. Don't let me sit like this.
Hey, I respect it though because they are right. Like you see Shams get stories and like all. a lot of people that be leaking stuff these days, like, it's not like you just got 4 coaches anymore. Like, I think our coaching staff may be 20 guys.
That's crazy.
And so all of a sudden, you tell your coach, and he tell his guy on the coaching staff. And he go tell his young guy on the coaching staff. Right. And all of a sudden they get back to Shams, and then it don't go through. Now, if you're Dallas and you're secretly trying to trade Luka and it don't go through, now you got a real issue, And so I think I understood it, right? Like, everybody's like, oh man, like, how could you not say this to J. Kidd? How could you not? But like, in a situation like that, where
you can't tell nobody.
You can't tell anybody. And we live in this world where people tell everything. People show you their location, exactly where they at when they there, right? We live in this world where everything is leaked to the media. So the one time that something don't get leaked, people trying to say that's crazy. No, that's how actually things probably should be. Like, if you're doing something to better your team and you're trying to make a trade, it's probably best that you don't say that to anyone. And so I think in looking at that, I think I would hope that one of the main takeaways for people is keep your mouth shut. Like, that deal Luka Doncic got traded and it was quiet, which means everybody else can shut the hell up. Like, stop sharing every little secret you have to, like, try to get a leg up or gain a friend. Like, I don't understand it. So I respect the way they did it. Did they get the most value that they could get for Luka? People are like, oh, they could have got 3 picks or they could have got 4. They got Anthony Davis.
Bingo.
And a first-round pick.
Bingo.
That, we'll see how it goes. Nonetheless, like, if they wanted to flip Anthony Davis right now, they could flip Anthony Davis for 4 first-round picks.
Yeah, for sure. Easy.
Right? So it's not like they can't get the first-round picks if they wanted the picks, but they trying to win now. And they got a guy who helps them win now. Not to mention, they just put him next to a center, which he loves. He loves playing next to a center. And they just put him next to a big-ass center in Daniel Gafford and a big-ass center in Derek Lively, right? So that kills those problems for AD.
Yep.
Listen, man, I think in a situation like that where you traded Luka, I'm not sure there's many guys that they could have got back that you go from wherever they were in the West to, like, people saying, oh, that's the best team in the West. Like, they traded Luka Doncic, and people are saying it's the best team in the West now. Best team. But then on the flip side, like, you got people like, oh, that's the dumbest trade. Well, how are they the best team in the West, but it's the dumbest trade ever? Like, I don't quite understand that. Nonetheless, I feel for Luka because you've poured into that community. You have taken that city on, made it home, and, like, out of nowhere blindly get traded. I do feel bad for him because that's the shitty side of the NBA. Like, if Luka came out and was like, yo, I want to be traded, there'd be this huge uproar of like,
they would.
You know what I'm saying? Another star player want to leave the team and, like, we need to stop this.
Yeah.
But this man gets traded in the dark in the middle of the night. He literally got traded after midnight.
That's crazy.
Eastern time, after midnight, right in the middle of the night, Luka Doncic got traded in the dark.
Luka Doncic got traded.
It's crazy. Like, I feel for Luka. I think Luka, if I'm not mistaken, I think he just had a kid. So, like,
just bought a house too.
I heard he just bought a new crib. Like, and that makes sense because his home had just got broken into. So I'm sure he was probably moving somewhere with more security or whatever.
Yeah.
But man, I do feel bad for him, and Luka is not a guy that's going to come out and say something. He not. I saw his dad say something, but Luka not a guy that's going to come out and say something. So I do feel a little bad. I feel bad for Luka for sure.
Okay, I don't feel bad for Luka. Why? You going to the Lakers, baby.
Oh, that's
ooh. You coming to the land. Come on, you an international superstar, a mega star. Now it's rock and roll time. A lot of them games that we was hearing about or didn't see, we get to see that. And you know how Laker fans are. They gonna take it up times 10.
Mm-hmm.
Now with Luka, you have time.
Yes.
The Lakers have bought themselves a great opportunity to build now, to compete now, and start to mobilize how they want to be in the future.
Yeah. No, that's a
around
fact.
a superstar.
At 25.
So I think at 25 years old, who do you think won the trade?
In the
We don't know yet,
interim,
right?
in the interim, right now today, Anthony
Uh-huh.
Davis out of Dallas.
Dallas.
Because, and the reason I say that's a made team. You got Luka if you're the Lakers now, but now you don't have a big.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have a starting caliber center. And so I think for them now, they have to figure out how to build the team, right? Like you got Bron,
Yeah.
you got Luka, you got Austin Reeves, you know, but
Mhm.
now you got to like figure out how to build a team out. So now they'll need to at some point get a big, right? And so I think as of right now, currently as it stands today, you lace them up, you go out there and play tomorrow, it's Dallas. But I don't think this was a move that the Lakers was making to say we're betting right now for today. I think what the Lakers thought was this team ain't great. We're not winning the championship. We got a chance to get Luka Doncic. This gives us a chance to possibly sign a couple guys and compete right now with Luka and LeBron, but also gives us a chance to compete to where with Luka now, that 2027 draft pick ain't going to be as high as people thought it was. 2029 probably won't be high as people thought it was either with adding Luka to this roster. So I think, you know, currently as it stands, the Mavs, but this is a right now and long-term play for the Lakers. And so I think as they build the team out, then that can change. But they're going to need to build a team out now. And also, before we say something else, shout out to my young fella, Max Christie.
That's right.
You know, had earned himself into the starting lineup. I think now for Max, Max is going to a team that's more loaded in that position now, you know, so he got to go figure his way out. Nonetheless, he a Spartan dog. He going to do things out there that a lot of those other guys ain't going to do because they ain't been coached by Tom Izzo. So I believe he'll figure it out either way.
Yeah, I believe that was kind of like the caveat in the deal. Watching Max Christie, his evolution, you know, JJ playing him. I saw why they drafted him. I saw his potential. And now moving that piece over to Dallas, complimenting Klay Thompson, right? Being over there complimenting Klay Thompson because Max gonna play some defense. Max can score. He can cut. He cut to the basket. He athletic, right? So Dallas is now getting not only AD, but they getting a young dog, right? They got another young dog that that can fit into that ecosystem and what they building.
100%. And here's the thing, like when you look at the NBA and a lot of things that I think fans don't understand is like contracts, your contract matters.
Yeah, it does.
And so, for instance, Max just signed a 4-year, $32 million deal. He's going to get an opportunity, and he'll probably get the opportunity over Quentin Grimes because he has a meaningful contract. And that's where I don't think, like I said, I don't think people understand how much that matters. When you like, oh, that guy should have signed for less. Like, yeah, you signed for less. You're also setting yourself up to get screwed because you signed for less. Your value is no longer as high as it was. You know, if you're not in a certain position and you sign for less, you can screw yourself. And so here's where I think like Max signing that deal actually gives him more security than just financial security. It gives him more security to get an opportunity or 2 or 3 because he got the contract. And so I think and I think with an opportunity, he figures it out. Spartan dog, that's what we do.
I agree. I also wanted to dial in the Utah Jazz, right? They didn't even know that Luka was being traded. Can you explain how is that possible for them to be involved in the trade and then not know somebody being traded?